Well, good morning, everyone. Thomas Montgomery here. It's a beautiful Tuesday morning, February 22nd, 2022. Twos are wild, it looks like. We get together with our distribution partners most weekday mornings, right before 8 o'clock Central, talk about strategies, tips, techniques, and success stories. Yesterday, we officially rolled out the two-step funding program with resounding success. I think the most fun, most enjoyable part of what I do is having the opportunity to work with so many different distribution partners, each of you, and seeing the different approaches that different people take. So today we're going to be highlighting the Aundre approach, and I'll describe that and show you the flyer, and we'll dig into that in a second. But Aundre doesn't have the only successful approach. We have Robert and several others yesterday that approached us, and they're buying the small business certifications in bulk. They're buying anywhere from 10 to 100 of these because they're packaging the small business certification into something else that they're selling. So they buy it from us at wholesale, price it however they want, but building it into their model. So there's many different ways to go out and help solve this problem, which is improving small businesses' access to capital using the two-step funding program. But with that being said, I want to focus today on the Aundre model. So I'm not advocating for how Aundre conducts business. He's a young man, frankly, fairly uneducated, handsome, very self-confident, very effective speaker. And he has a different approach to taking this out, I suspect, than many of you do. So he spins it differently with incredible success. And this flyer incorporates that. So we'll go through and then take questions that you may have. So this is the revised flyer, the Aundre version. And so let's go through it, talk about its contents and why it works so well for Aundre, and probably will for you too. So of course, title is small business certification. What you and I know, that's the first step of the two-step funding program. But Aundre says, and Aundre often uses colorful words that aren't family friendly, but he would say, don't talk about two-step funding. People don't know what that means. Focus on the first step. And so small business certification. And then he wanted the subtitle changed to specifically state what they get, which is, we're going to help you get credible on paper for a capital raise. So even if they didn't read anything else on the flyer, they know why they need to sign up with you today is they need to get credible on paper, because right now they're not credible on paper. And if they were credible on paper, they wouldn't be talking to you. They'd be down at the bank right now signing loan documents. All right. As far as who should participate, Aundre didn't have any issue with that, so it stays the same. Entrepreneurs with a concept for a new business and want to start within the next 6 to 12 months, as well as startup businesses in operation less than 2 years that want to develop a plan for more growth, profitability, and access to capital. What you know, what I know, what Aundre knows, but a lot of people don't, is they think startup means brand new. But according to the SBA, industry terminology is startup means 2 years or less in business. That really is our primary target audience. But you got to be careful, because if you just say startup, people will think something different. But startup means 2 years or less in business. Aundre insisted that this title was changed. So he wanted convenient and fast. And the rest of it is the same terminology, clarifying it's online, on demand, with live one-on-one sessions. But that title is different, because what do people want to know? You know, does it fit? Is it a good fit for me? Everyone wants convenient, everyone's fast. And then here is maybe the biggest epiphany that Aundre brought to the table. And again, he uses words that I can't or shouldn't use on the Zoom, but he'll drop an MF when he's talking to someone, and he'll say, look, MF, I'm going to pay you to participate. And again, I'm not advocating for quite that much directness, but what Aundre's trying to convey is, look, this doesn't cost you to participate. This is going to generate at least $10,000 of business credit for you, and we're allocating over $2,000 in grant funding. So let's stop making excuses. There's guaranteed results. Let's get enrolled. Let's give it a try. So again, Aundre is a strong closer. So we changed the subtitle to meet Aundre's message. We'll pay them, the client, to participate, and then reiterate, we're going to provide every participant at least $10,000 in business credit. Of course, no use of social security number with that. And then everyone that participates receives a grant allocation of $2,104. Well, how does that math work? Well, you know, as I know, and it's always been, the cost of building the loan package is $2,500. There's no secret. We even tell people that here in the fine print. Well, with the allocation of $2,104, that's why they're only paying $396. See that? So let's pause before I get to the bottom part of the flyer. What feedback do any of you have on Aundre's flyer, his approach, in terms of hitting them over the head with, hey, you need help becoming credible on paper. Right now, you don't look credible enough to get the funding you need. Let's fix that. He didn't make any changes here. He added convenient and fast, and then he switched it. And Aundre's not selling a $396 program. He's offering a program that's going to get you $10,000 guaranteed. And secondly, he's going to get you a grant allocation immediately of $2,104. So I don't want to say Aundre is a sales master, but he's flipped this over 180. And that's why you see some people are so good at getting clients enrolled, because they're able to connect and engage with the client and get the client what they want, right? Clients will enroll if they feel confident they're going to get what they need and they like what the offer is. So any comments, questions? Thank you, Jasper. Jasper says, great approach. Other questions? And again, Aundre is unique. He'll do things that I would not recommend others do. Not talking about what we've done here. Aundre sends pictures of himself, almost pointing at the client. It's kind of interesting. Aundre tells people how smart he is and how influential he is and how influential his family is. And so, again, he's very aggressive. I'm not advocating or condoning or commenting on all of that. Aundre's Aundre. Each of us has our own unique approach at communication. But I think what Aundre has brought to everyone's awareness, as we discuss, wordsmithing matters. How you communicate the same value proposition, the words you choose, makes a tremendous difference in how likely your prospects are to become clients. And yes, we'll send this out. And frankly, this has become the new flyer for the program, because you can't argue with success. There's a handful of you that we're only one day in this, right? We just launched this yesterday, and some of you just have our heads spinning like, how in the world did you make that many sales in one day? You got the Roberts of the world that's buying in batch because they're packaging it with something else they're offering. And then you have the Aundres and others of you that just are effective at communicating the proposition. We've even gone to the landing page and made a few tweaks today to incorporate some of these messages so it's consistent. But yes, Gigi, we'll get everyone a copy of this flyer out, of course. Jeremy asked a different question as far as leads. And so I'll save that to a different conversation, because today we're really talking about some best practices and how to convey the opportunity to the prospect, but we certainly can have a different conversation a different day about lead development. I don't want to confuse the two, respectfully, Jeremy. Okay, so let's move on. And there's been some other tweaks that we've incorporated here based upon Aundre's model. So here at the bottom, we changed a fair amount based upon his guidance of the why participate. So let's go through these bullets. Some are the same, some of them are significantly different, because again, the goal, and of course, you're not going to leave our URL on here. You're going to use your landing page and drive people. So we'll get this out and you can edit it and put your landing page on it, of course. But let's go through the why participate according to Aundre, and I think most of you will agree with his approach. First thing he does, again, he's reiterating, we will pay you to participate. That's a massive change from, hey, would you pay me $396 to do this? No, not at all. We will pay you to participate. In addition to the $2,104 of grant allocation, we guarantee you at least $10,000 in business credit without use of your Social Security number. And I think that's probably the secret to his success, because he's providing them significant return for their investment. And a lot of the, excuse me, a lot of these folks are concerned about using personal credit. And so he's insisting and clarifying, hey, you will not need to use your Social Security number. You will not need to use your personal credit for this. So that's bullet one. The second, I don't think he made any changes to. Understand how to properly set up a business, regardless if you're pre-launch or setup. And that's obviously a true statement. And we addressed that as early as lesson one, module one. I don't think he changed this, just clarifying that in the 4-week process, we'll create a lender compliant business plan and loan package to better qualify for SBA and small business loans, even as a startup. So no changes there. He did do some wordsmithing on this. Become familiar with what banks and lenders want you to know and what you have to get approved for loans, lines of credit, business credit cards, company financing, et cetera. Because his point was the average entrepreneur wants money. They want capital. They may need capital and money, but they don't know how to look at it from the banker's eyes. And that's frankly what you and I bring to the table, is we're going to position the client's documentation so it's lender compliant and attractive to the lender, to the banks, the extenders of credit, so they get approved. He added this bullet: understand strategies to instantly become more credible on paper. And what's an example of that? Like the collateral support program. We were working with one of our clients yesterday, Curtis, who signed up for this. He's just average guy, good guy, but just average guy. And his balance sheet was too light. There was an inconsistency in what he wanted to accomplish from a capital raise and how he looked on paper. My gosh, in 15 minutes, we fixed that. Now his balance sheet is strong. So the collateral support program is one example of that. That's a very powerful arrow that you and I have in our quiver. If you're not familiar with that, don't get distracted. We'll talk about it more later. Here's a big one that Aundre added, and maybe it's as big as the top bullet. What Aundre said, and we talked or text or emailed 12 times probably yesterday. What he wanted me to convey to you is that a lot of these people are running on fumes and they really need help. The subsidies have ended, the economy is hurting a lot of people, and he's just really in touch with that working class entrepreneur. And he said, Tom, and he doesn't call me Tom, he uses colorful terms, but what he said, MF, is that you need to show the client that we can fix their cash flow problem while we're also helping them get positioned for a capital raise. And again, I'm paraphrasing with my words, not his, because his are a bit too colorful probably for the webinar. But he really wanted us to add a bullet to show, hey, by plugging in here, not only can we get you capital ready to be able to access funding, but we can also fix your short-term problem of getting some cash flow coming in. And so that's powerful. And I think that's one of his keys of growing so quickly. This is no different, I don't think. It's talking about step 2. So step 1 is the small business certification, which is getting credible on paper. Step 2 is getting funding. And then he really wanted to wrap up the bulleted list with removing the concern of loss psychologically. And so we want to clarify to the client, there is no risk to participate, and we guarantee results. So and we could read through the left-hand side, but it's materially the same. What questions or comments do any of you have regarding Aundre's approach on why participate? Which of these bullets do you think is the most powerful? If you're going in for the close, you're trying to help a client enroll, which of these bullets in your mind is the most powerful bullet? Al, Aundre, Antoine, Beatrice, Ben, Bernard, Charles, Corey, DeAndre, Denise, Doug, Gigi, Jasper. I want to get your feedback. Jeremy, Joseph. Joseph, you're the big hitter in Arkansas. Let me know your thoughts. Latasha, LJ, Lon, Magnus, Manathas, Mark, Pauline, Spencer, Toledo, Warren, Wayne, Winston. We've got 50 others. I can't even scroll down. Pauline likes the first and the sixth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, good. Jasper and Jeremy both like the first. So again, we'll provide this flyer to you after the training, but at some point we've got to turn up the confidence. And so I wouldn't necessarily go in as confident as Aundre. I wouldn't send shirtless pictures of yourself to your prospects like Aundre does. But regardless, what I would recommend is having some confidence. What we do is credible, it's needed, and it's life-changing. I think some of you may be so successful that you may be disconnected with, we'll call the common man. For the common man to earn an extra $1,000 to $2,000 a week, that's the difference between paying their bills on time and not. There's some people that don't even make $1,000 to $2,000 a week with their full-time job. So Aundre is pinpointed in to that hot button. And then, of course, pivoting from, hey, I want to sell you something, to frankly, we'll pay you to participate, is a very powerful pitch. All right, so that's the message I wanted to convey today. And so I guess I'll wrap it up with two things. So we saw two success stories emerge. Let me make it smaller so you can see the whole thing. Two success stories emerge yesterday. Some of you, like Robert, are coming to us wanting to buy the small business certificates in bulk, where they are attaching this offering to something else that they're doing, other services, and then essentially either giving it away or building it into their price structure. But so it's the same program, but they're not offering it through the traditional means, and that's fine. We want to sell them at least in batches of 10 at a time. But if you want to buy in bulk, we can do that. Second would be the Aundre approach, which is a bit more direct, inserting a lot more self-confidence and saying, look, this program works and this is how you'll benefit. And that was summarized by these bullets. Now, I understand that if we're providing each of you that are affiliates a free landing page. So if you just drive into the landing page, there is no interaction. And so that's one sales strategy, is just send everyone to your landing page. Maybe they sign up, maybe they don't. The other strategy, which is more of the Aundre approach, is he wants to get them on the phone. And when he has them on the phone, he texts them his landing page. So now they're talking to him and looking at his landing page, either on their phone, their iPad, their PC, wherever. Usually it's on the phone, and he walks them through it. So he hits these highlights and they sign up 9 times out of 10, it sounds like, from just that conversation, because it's just a logical next step. There's no risk, guaranteed results. You've got a problem, we've got a solution. Let's give it a try. So that is the Aundre approach, the Aundre flyer. I will get this out in your possession, if not later today. I have to leave for a meeting, but worst case scenario, tomorrow. Any questions, comments, concerns on the revised flyer? And if you go to your landing page, you'll see that there's been some subtle changes to incorporate some of Aundre's message in. Nothing abrasive, nothing too aggressive, but just some wordsmithing so the flyer matches the landing page. Very subtle changes. Any questions, comments, concerns that anyone has for today? All right, well, let's go out and help some people. Let us know if you have any questions. I'll talk to you soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.